Well, Tom Manwaring, amazing to see you again, looking so well as well. I mean, it's many years since we spoke about Cathay, or the good old Cathay days and everything. But look, as I said, well, we were just having a chat before. I mean, you stuck your hand up a while ago to become the chairman of AFTA, and you're also running an amazing travel agency group called Express Travel. Express Travel, is that right? Yep.
The Express Travel Group, yeah.
Yeah, Express Travel Group. So you've got your hands full here. And like me, though, you're getting older, and this world is not changing, and COVID has made things difficult for us. But you sent a media release out a few days ago called Travel in Hard Lockdown Since March 2020, and you need more help to survive. You know, most people just don't think about it, do they? You know, that since March 2020, travel agents basically, except selling maybe a holiday in Cairns or something like that, okay, have nothing to sell. How's your group been doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. I mean, my group is just a reflection of what's going on in the overall travel industry around Australia. I mean, it's it's at least at a 30% decline in staff numbers and business numbers. So it's a $45 billion a year industry. You know, it's up there with mining, agriculture, and all the rest of it. And we've said early on to government that if what's happening to travel happened to those industries, there would be riots in Canada. And the travel industry, part of the definition of what we do, which is sell people holidays and business trips and all this sort of thing, which is basically a happy industry. And we're a service industry. So service industries tend to slide off the edge of the table, you know, in terms of discussions around skills and job training and all those things, professionalism. So travel does sit under the radar. So part of the challenge in the last 18 months, one part of it has been establishing the relevancy of travel and the importance it plays in the general Australian economy.
Because I think in Canberra, they think about people going overseas for holiday. That's money going out of Australia. So we're not interested in that at all, because they don't see it as the tourism export industry or whatever it is, or however you want to describe it, or other people want to describe it, or import. And they don't see it as jobs. So you've been meeting with people in Canberra. I imagine people who, have something to say about all this, okay, and might have some influence on where the industry sits, and you've been representing AFTA. Have you felt that there's a bit of a brick wall in front of you, or do you think they're beginning to understand and listen about the importance of travel, both inbound, outbound, but in your case, obviously more outbound?
Yeah. You know, I think, the answer to that is yes. I mean, originally, and going back to the start of 2020, it was very hard to crack that shell. I mean, I think there was a bit of a collision between government and our business world. They understood all the other side of it, because we're not a lobby machine. We're a service industry. So we did fly under their radar a bit, despite meetings and handshaking and all that sort of thing. But I think now, some 18 months on, with a lot of hard work, not just by the AFTA board, but also by members themselves, and the work they've done in the electorates for members, for the elected members, pushing the case of agents and helping them to understand what the processes are. Because the issue there, the base of the issue was that travel agents were seen as a legacy industry. That, we're going to lose them, so what, let's move on. But now they're aware of the 45 billion. They're aware of the fact that we've done $8 billion worth of refunds and credits. Wow. There's a lot of work that goes into it. They're aware that travel agents do a tremendous job for DFAT, bringing back, repatriating people that are overseas. And there's hundreds of thousands of cases of that. So the numbers themselves are well known now. And I think that's been a great breakthrough for us, and was instrumental in us getting the grants 1, 2, and hopefully 3 through the cabinet. And a great job done by the Minister for Trade. And, that now has got its seat firmly at the table, and it's appreciated, notwithstanding the fact that we do have to change. There's a lot of change that needs to be done in the industry.
I mean, we've got the situation at the moment of the Delta variant, and then we've got the situation with Scott Morrison announcing last week about his phased ABC, whatever. I mean, my reading of that between the lines, I mean, putting aside the fact that the word cruising for another sector wasn't even mentioned, okay? But just in terms of outbound tourism, which is where you fit, it doesn't look to me like there'll be any sort of serious outbound tourism until possibly the first 3 months of next year. So where does that leave your members as after members and
Yeah.
your Express Travel Group agents?
Yeah, well, I think, well, it's at that crisis point now. And we've been saying, and we were saying 9 months ago, that the winter of 21 would be the toughest period, because we've come out of 20 where there was still some bit of overhang, tough time, but there was still some overhang coming through from the 2019 profits. Most companies had a pretty good 2019, carried it forward into 20. The JobKeeper was there as well, which lightened the payroll costs. Most landlords gave a bit of a break on the leases. So those sort of gains then rolled us into 21. And that's when it really hit a brick wall. JobKeeper pulled and leasing come up, and so all the other bills came through. So all of that extra work being done on a variety number of refunds, billions of dollars, as I said, but each account was actually being handled 3 and 4 times. Yeah. And really, that hasn't gone away. I mean, the amount of stress in the industry is at a record high. The amount of support being by Beyond Blue and the other fantastic businesses that support, depression basically, has been called upon by travel, and it's been well used. But government themselves have recognised that. They have been quick to the party to actually make travel, along with tourism, one of the recognised sectors that is going to need continued support. And they've done that with dollars. Now, would we want more dollars? Yes. I mean, would we like it to be quicker? Yes. But at least we are in that bucket of saying we recognise what you guys are. 70% of our force is female. So we recognise the importance of that to the family environment and the business community at large in the regional areas and the community area and then the suburban areas. So all of that is just through sheer hard work and grinding away every day to make sure that our list of dot points are covered time and time again. And there's a lot of more work to be done, but it's recognised now, and we need them to continue to support us. Otherwise, there will be another 10 or 15,000 jobs lost, and they won't come back. Those skills will go with them.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how in Sydney, that the moment construction, it was said that, construction is going to close down and all that sort of stuff. The powerful unions stepped in, and all of a sudden, within a couple of days, it was all sorted. So have you got powerful lobbyists in Canberra that can open the doors and get your message across?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point, because ours has been a bit more subtle in terms of lobbying, and I think just as firm and I think persuasive. We've also enlisted the support of some of the main really big business lobby groups, Business Council of Australia, and also the ACI, the Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So we're listed in there with them. We've written on their plan of getting out of this pandemic, which was published about 6 weeks ago. It was a yellow brick road, which in fact almost the PM's plan, a 4-stage plan, almost emulates that plan.
Yeah,
it came from
it does,
yeah, very close. And I think the numbers then speak for themselves. We have had 258 million, of which about 190 has been distributed, the rest to come, and a grant 3 on the horizon as well. And now we're dealing with the New South Wales APRAC, which was just sort of kicking into a 10-goal breeze in the third quarter now. So we've got to get through this quarter and try and have a good last quarter, because the booking pattern is what is important. We know we're not going to have travel this year. We warned actually that the New Zealand opening was too soon. We knew it would be a stop-start where we were. Now, that's sapped the confidence of all the consumers now. It's blown to pieces. They can't travel interstate. They're not even thinking about international. Do they want to go internationally? Yes. But, we really need that to be a solid yes. They know they can go if they're vaccinated. And then the country that's going to receive them, like the UK, as you'd be well aware, opening up to Europe and the US, will allow travel with vaccination. So that's the key.
Yes. Yeah, it is the key.
Get travel ready.
Yeah. And I think the other issue is as well, I mean, at the end of the day, hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? But, I think Scott Morrison, although he won't say sorry, but I think not accepting all those vaccinations early in the piece was a big mistake. And I'm not expecting you to comment really, but, we wouldn't be in this position now. And double vaccination, you're quite right, is the answer. 2 parts to this last question to ask you. Travel agents, okay, you've got the AFTA members, you've got your Express Travel Group members and so on. What's your message to them now? Because they've spent so much time refunding billions of dollars for no income. They're sitting there now, desperately waiting and trying to make a living, you know, and changing themselves into a domestic agency. What's your message to your members and travel agents at this point in time? And my next question will be, what's your message to government at this, both levels, all levels, state? Okay, first with the agents.
The agents, yeah. I mean, and that's a really hard question to answer because, you know, there's no magic button. I mean, we're in survival mode. And our message has been from AFTA and also to my own agents and to all of the talks that I've had with agents, seminars, webinars, etc. Do anything you can to survive. And that may probably mean a second job, a third job. Cutting costs has been done. The biggest challenge is trying to keep your people employed. And to do that, we need to have the payroll tax and the payroll support that is currently rolling through in New South Wales. That needs to be applied to every state. The biggest disappointment for me across the whole gambit of this, and we're all, as you said, we can't, easy to look on it retroactively and go, oh yeah, we should have done this, should have done that. Well, you know, the reality is we've got 6 states and 2 territories. We have eight constituents, if you like. It's like a Rubik's Cube, and they all have different ways of processing this COVID response. 3-day lockdowns, 5-day lockdowns, 10-week lockdowns, 12-month lockdown. You know, it just goes on and on. Well, and we've been locked down for 18 months, as you said. So agents really just have to scramble through, look at every single type of government support that's available. We're working on the bigger end of the scale, if you like, the grants 1, 2, 3 and 4, hopefully till the end of the year. We're trying to get support for the bigger firms as well with a agreement to get some loss carryback provisions to 2017 profits. The taxes paid, so we can carry them, they can get those refunded for this year's profits, losses rather, and payroll tax. Payroll tax should be waived for 12 months for people in travel businesses and tourism. I think.
The truth is, payroll tax shouldn't exist in any case because it's a massive disincentive to employing people. But let's not go there. Okay, so what's your message? I mean,
and that's my message. Getting into your second question, which is the government. And I think the federal government, you know, TIC, hats off to them. They came up with JobKeeper. It cushioned the whole thing. Then we've got grants 1 and 2. That's $258 million. Now, I know it's $30,000 to $40,000, $50,000 a member average, but it's still the amount of money that's squirreled into the business costs of that agent. Should have been enough to get through that quarter. Grant 2's been slower, 50% out now, although we're sitting in August. It's for April to June. And hopefully in the next 2 weeks, a big chunk of that second 50% is going to go out as well. But what that does do is pave the way for very quick execution of Grant 3, which is yet to be approved by Cabinet. Now, if we do get that approval through, we'll be able to, I'm sure that Austrade will have a far quicker process of distributing the funds. The other side with it is in those hard cost areas. Most business costs are payroll and lease and, you know, shop expenses. So, you know, to reduce those somehow, payroll tax, obviously, but also getting some skilled training budget through for 2022. Coming out of this, we know the pent-up demand is going to be very, very strong for both our normal industry and also the cruise industry. So absolutely. We need that to be brought into play. Cruise has to be part of the equation, $2 billion. You know, so we need that working and working well. Domestically, it's proven travel agents cannot make money domestically. It can in a small sense, but not on a scale of $45 billion. So, you know, we need it to be international. And by the way, travel agents in Australia do book inbound travel. The student market is primarily a result of them coming into the country. Then a lot of them in the Asian area in particular go back at the end of each semester. There's 3 or 4 trips a year from each of them. So it's a hundreds of millions of dollars, that business. My own agents do that. So we are part of the export business. You know, those airplanes can't fly in full and go out empty. They don't come here at all if they don't go out half full as well.
Just another question I wanted to ask you in terms of, do you see more travel agents working from home rather than from offices? I mean, you know, there's obviously a place for bricks and mortar agencies, but in terms of reducing their overheads and using technology and so on, is that something you're facilitating through AFTA and through the Express Travel?
Yeah, I think, I mean, AFTA continues to do that. The AFTA at the moment, we're reviewing the membership proposal for the next 12 months, 18 months. It's a total review. There's a lot of different types of members in AFTA. As you have known from the last AGM, Travel Corporation through Katrina's on the board now. They're a full member, and Luxury Escape were nominated for a seat as well. So there was a good offset, you know, in terms of large companies and smaller companies.
Yeah.
The advisory side of the business is definitely growing for all of the majors. Stores will be depleted. You've seen that from Flight Centre, some 30 to 40% less stores. Hello World seem to be holding a bit better, but they're probably going to lose some of their franchises as well. As my business, I Talk Travel, we've lost about 30% of them. Some of those have drifted into pure home stay and booking, you know, organising out of rented offices or not the actual fixed storefront. So the consumers have become more savvy and far better prepared to book through an advisor and or travel agent. And the old slogan, mate, which is, you know, you're on your own without a travel agent type thing, which is, you know, what we're using these days. So without the travel agent, you are on your own.
Well, you are.
Stuck anywhere.
Yeah, and it's never been truer than in this lot. I mean, you know, in terms of negotiating, working through the contracts and the agreements and the terms and conditions and trying to get refunds, travel agents have proved themselves. And also with all the disasters we've gone through, helping negotiate to get flights back and so on. Well, Tom Manwaring, look, I just want to thank you for your time today, and also want to thank you on behalf of the industry. As an old stager, you'll hate me saying this, right? But you're still active there. You're still pushing all the buttons. Okay, so keep doing so, because this industry needs people like you, mate, to actually make the difference. And you know, travel is so important to Australians, and we can't wait until early 2022 when we can start get going again and get on cruises again. And maybe we'll join each other, perhaps on a ship somewhere, and have a gin and tonic and celebrate. Tom Manwaring, thank you for your time.
Love to do that, John. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
And you.